मुनतिरावनचारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातिरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा माता जी।
Hare Krishna. Very melodious, Mataji. Thank you so much for your lovely kirtan. So let's start. Prabhuji, over to you. And last 10 minutes for Damodar Ashtakam. And we need to speak on Ekadashi also, Prabhuji.
So what time we have to start?
Yeah. So
6:40.
Not 6:40, yeah. So
7:30, 7:40.
7:30, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु।
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So welcome you all. Hope my voice is audible to everyone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pashnaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Pamaniti Namne Namacharya Patani Tattapaptani Gaurakata Dhavda Nagragaram Tarini. Are you all able to see the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So welcome you all in today's session of Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th canto, the 10th chapter, the deliverance of Yamala Arjuna. And today being very auspicious day, Ekadashi, that too in the month of Kartik, very, very auspicious Rama Ekadashi. So I welcome all of you once again. Hare Krishna. So let's begin. So I'm going to be covering the shloka number 12 and shloka number 13. So if anyone would like to recite the shloka after me, you can please raise your hands.
Prabhuji, may I do that?
Yeah, you can do that, Mataji. So let me read the shloka and then you can recite after me. Can I request everyone to kindly mute the mic? Okay. Evam sadharanam deham avyakta prabhavyapyam o vidvan आत्मसत् कृत्वा हान्ति जहातुं मृते सतः. Archana Mataji, you can read the shloka.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Evam sadharanam deham avyakta prabhavapyayam yapyayam kovidvan atmasat kritva hanti jantum trite satah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Who would like to read the translation, please?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Mataji, please go ahead.
Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. This body, after all, is produced by the unmanifested nature and again annihilated and merged in the natural elements. Therefore, it is the common property of everyone. Under the circumstances, who but a rascal claims this property as his own, and while maintaining it commits such sinful activities as killing animals just to satisfy his whims. Unless one is a rascal, one cannot commit such sinful activities. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Would someone like to read the purport? It's a very small purport. Anyone?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Go ahead, Mataji.
Purport textual. Purport by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Atheists do not believe in the existence of the soul. Nonetheless, unless one is very cruel, why should one kill animals unnecessarily? The body is a manifestation of a combination of matter. In the beginning, it was nothing, but by a combination of matter, it has come into existence. Then again, when the combination is dismantled, the body will no longer exist. In the beginning, it was nothing, and in the end, it will be nothing. Why then should one commit sinful activities when it is manifested? It is not possible for anyone to do this unless he is rascal number one. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. We'll also read out the second shloka and then we'll discuss on both the shlokas together. Some reason today in the Veda base is extremely slow. Just give me a second. For some reason, my Veda base is very slow. Will anyone be able to share? Yeah, you can share, please. Thirteenth shloka. 13th. Yeah. Asata Srimadandasya Daritryam Paramanjanam Atmaupamena Bhutani Daritra Paramikshate. Who would like to read the shloka? Hare Krishna. Can I request Sudha Mataji to read the shloka?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Asata Srimadandasya Darityam Paramanjanam Atmaupamyena Bhutani Daridra Paramikshate.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah. Who would like to read the translation? Archana Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. atheistic fools and rascals who are very much proud of wealth fail to see things as they are. Therefore, returning them to poverty is the proper ointment for their eyes, so they may see things as they are. At least a poverty-stricken man can realize how painful poverty is, and therefore he will not want others to be in a painful condition like his own. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, shall I read purport also?
No, that's okay, Mataji. Purport not required now for this.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So very nice topic that we are discussing, and we are going into the core philosophy of this specific chapter, wherein Nal Kuber and Manigriva, both are about to get punished, by the great sage Narad Muni. Now before cursing both of them, so there is a series of giving a context of why they need to be punished, and also the reasoning. So because unlike Durvasa Muni, wherein any XYZ that he comes across, and if his mood is not good, he would just curse. But unlike him, Narad Muni happens to be one of the Mahajan, so obviously he will not be cursing. And even actually, if you see, his curse is actually, in a way, is a benediction. So despite this being as a benediction, yet the scriptures is giving us a lot of reasoning as to why this needs to be given, because every topic or every thing that we learn from the scripture, there has to be some lesson that we take home. Otherwise, what is the point of reading the scripture? The scripture is for us to understand why it is mentioned and what are the implications of it. Yeah. So that is the primary requirement, and also to give us some insight of what kind of life we need to lead, because not that we are born in a human form, and after getting a human form doesn't mean that we just do whatever we want to do it. We have that slogan of Nike, right? Just do it whenever we want, however we want. So that is not the objective. Objective is to lead a Vedic way of life. Yeah, because and that's the topic that we are going to be discussing today. So this is about the body. Yeah. So the shloka number 12, it talks about this body, specifically about this body. And then the shloka number 13, it's about the pride that one carries, and why that pride comes, and how that pride needs to be, to be subdued. So if we don't subdue our own pride, if we don't subdue the false possessions, then the nature will force that onto us. Yeah, just remember this. And this is exactly what we understand from both of these shlokas. So now coming to shloka number 12. So we understand, and the translation very clearly states that whom does this body belong to? In fact, in the translation says it is a common property. Can someone tell me what does it mean by common property? Why it is said it's a common property? Anyone?
Prabhuji, maybe it is because it is made up of the 5 elements like earth, water, fire, like that.
Yeah.
That's why it's common.
Yes. And just imagine, see, translation very clearly states, and why it states that it's common property, because ultimately after the end, when we quit this body, because we are not this body, we are the soul. So obviously we are going to be quitting this body. We are not going to be staying permanently in this body. Just like, whenever we go for vacation, or when we go to some holiday station, yeah, we rent a place to stay, or we go and stay in a hotel for some time. We don't stay there permanently, isn't it? And then when the time is up, when we have to check out, we just take our belongings. We don't take the entire possession where we stayed. That is not possible. So we just, vacate that particular place, and then we go and occupy some other place. So similarly, this body is a temporary, we are the temporary resident of this particular body. We don't own this body. Now, whom we can claim as the owner of this body? Can we claim that the mother who is giving birth to this body, is she the real claimant? No, she is not. Is the person who is resident on this body, is he the real claimant? Even he is not. In some of the faith, when someone dies, what they do, they keep it on the open ground, and then the vultures will come and eat up this body. So does it mean that this body belongs to the vulture? No. And in some faith, this body is being buried under the ground. So what happens? The worms, they eat up this body. Then does this body belong to those worms? No. So ultimately, or in some other faith, the body is burnt into ashes, and then it goes back into the earth. So does this belong to this earth? So in fact, the answer is yes and no, because in some cases, it is someone else who claims this body, meaning the vultures eat the body, the worms eats up the body, the earth, absorbs the body. So that is the reason why the translation that it is the common properties, and ultimately, the five gross elements, they take up these compositions, whatever the body is made up of. So, and just imagine this entire life, right from our birth, as we grow, we are so possessive of this body, and we are so attached to this body. Even a little harm, we get so much agitated. Especially the film actress, they are so much possessed of their beauty, of their looks. But as they age, then this, when they actually look into the mirror, they start hating themselves, because they were so used to looking so beautiful, when they were young, and then they go and do some artificial surgery, makeup, and so many other things. But what happens? They are unable to do that. Now, in the translation and in the purport, very clearly it states that since we are the temporary resident of this particular body, so we have absolutely no right to abuse this particular body. Yeah. So since this doesn't belong to us, so a possession that we have, which does not belong to us, we have absolutely no right to do whatever we want to do. But generally, that is not the case, because people don't have this understanding. People think that, I'm this body, it is mine. I can do whatever I want. Nowadays you see, the tattoo culture is going on. In fact, especially the place where we reside now, and there are so many tourist influx. So I see some of the Westerners, their entire legs, hands, face. I mean, there's no part of the body which is left where they have not tattooed, and it doesn't look good. The Lord has given such a beautiful, body features, and then what are we doing? We are spoiling the entire thing. So this tattoo culture, we are actually abusing our body in a way. If you look at it, is that the purpose of? I mean, you think the Lord did not understand that how to design our body? No, He has designed it so nicely. And then what we do, we are trying to, showcase that we are greater than Him. And then we try to abuse this body by, putting tattoo all around the body, all across the body. Now, how do we, not abuse this body? Yeah? So, if you ask a general person, he will not understand. He will say, "What are you saying about abusing the body? Am I killing myself? Am I hurting myself? Even if I hurt, obviously it's going to pain me. So why will I abuse this?" He will not understand. For example, people smoke, right? People smoke. People drink alcohol. People have various, they do various types of intoxication. All these are, different types of abusing the body, because ultimately what is happening, we are trying to disturb the 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 inner features or the inner working of the body, because when we are trying to take something which is not natural, yeah, for example, smoking is an unnatural thing. It's not required. Why? Because by someone who is used to smoking, or someone who is used to taking drugs, what happens? The senses goes haywire, and they're not in control. And then finally what happens? They get addicted. Similarly, even intoxication, the alcohol intoxication, someone is so used to taking that, they start abusing their body left, right, and center. So in a way, how we can control that? The only way to control is that to control the senses. So when we control the senses, what happens? We are in a way eradicating all this type of problem. So Krishna consciousness is one of the best way to do that. So when the moment we get connected into Krishna consciousness, the first thing what they tell us is 4 regulatory principles. Straight away, by following that 4 regulatory principles, automatically the senses are under control. Yeah, we try to control our senses. Just to refer the shloka, just give me a minute, please. Sorry, I'm using 2 different laptops because my database, I'm unable to access the database. Yeah. So here in the translation, very specifically, yeah, there is a reference of sin, doing committing a sinful activities, yeah, by using this body, such as killing an animal, yeah, and that is mentioned as just to satisfy his whims. Now, what does this mean? That why do we kill animals? Why are people killing animals? Now, one of the primary reason of people killing animals is to fulfill the taste of this tongue. Yeah, this tongue, just a small part of the body, yeah, but it's one of the most dangerous part of the body, because this does 2 activities. One is to speak and one is to taste. So because we cannot control the taste of this tongue, yeah, so what happens? It controls the remaining senses. It will direct the remaining senses to fulfill that particular taste. So very, very difficult. So unless and until we don't control this part of the sense, it's going to be very, very different, very, very difficult. And that's one of the primary reason why we say that we need to utilize this particular sense, the tongue, to chant the holy name of the Lord. So when we engage this particular sense in the service of the Lord, somehow or the other, this sense control will start building up. And then what we say, because this particular sense, does 2 activities. So we also need to, treat this particular senses with 2 medicine. One is the medicine of the Mahamantra. Yeah, every day 16 rounds when we chant, yeah, using this particular tongue. So that will purify one. Secondly, by tasting Krishna Prasad. So whatever we consume through this mouth, yeah, because if there is no taste sensation in our mouth, obviously we will not feel like eating any food. So it's very, very important. So this particular tongue it has the most important functions in our body. So whatever is pushed inside our mouth, until and unless this particular tongue does not approve it, it does not go inside our stomach, isn't it? So it's very important to control this aspect as well. So what we do, we offer whatever we cook, because ultimately we have to survive by eating food. So whatever we cook, we cook for the Lord, and we offer it to the Lord, and then we offer it as a bhoga, and then we honor it as prasad. So this way, when we do these two activities, that is, one is by chanting and other is by honoring the prasad. This way we purify this particular sense. But that's very rare, isn't it? This can only be done for a person who wants to be serious in devotional life, a person who wants to realize that who he is, why has he come into this material world. For that person, this thing can work. But what about the general mass of people, which we are talking about almost 99.99% across this planet, who are not aware of this particular philosophy and who does not want to accept this particular philosophy? Why? Because they are so drowned in enjoying their senses and killing this innocent animal just to fulfill the taste of this particular tongue. Because just to fulfill this taste, we are so much of sinful activities that we are accumulating, isn't it? So we need to be extremely cautious. Whatever we consume, for our satisfaction, we need to be extremely cautious. And all these are quite subtle karma that we are, incurring. See, killing the other living entity, it is not even subtle. It is very gross, because we can see the pain of that particular animal, when it is being slaughtered. And we have absolutely, if we don't have right to give life to any other living entity, we have absolutely no right to kill any other living entity. See, in the olden days, the animal used to be sacrificed. You would have definitely heard that the Ashwamedha Yajna is all about, performing the Yajna, and before the Yajna is commenced, the animal is sacrificed. But there was a purpose behind that sacrifice. The Brahmana would sacrifice that animal in the Yajna only to see if the mantra is working or no, if the mantra that he's chanting, does it have any effect? But the Brahmana also ensures that the animal that is being sacrificed there, immediately that animal receives an human life. So in a way, that is not slaughtering. That is actually giving a benediction. In fact, that animal is being benedicted by a higher life. So that kind of sacrifice is okay as far as the Vedas are concerned. But that sacrifice, such type of sacrifice are not permissible in Kali Yuga. It was only applicable, in the earlier yugas, not in Kali Yuga anymore, because none of them are pure. No Brahmanas are pure. Even the mantras that were used to be chanted during those ages would never work here in the Kali Yuga. The only effective mantra for the Kali Yuga is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. No other mantra will be effective. So in the Kali Santarna Upanishad, very clearly it says here, Hare Name Kevalam Kalav Nasteva Gatir Anyatha. So in this particular yuga, only holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra that we are chanting, only that will work. No other mantra can work. People generally take up so many upasanas, and they approach so many vidwans, they approach so many pandits, and then they will say, okay, you chant this mantra, you'll benefit so much. You chant this mantra, so Some people chant the Mahamrutyunjaya jap, some chant the Durga Shaptashati, some chant so many other mantras, but all those are not going to be effective at all. Shrama eva hi kevalam. Yeah, in the Kali Yuga, only the Mahamantra is going to be effective. That's why, and it's a very simple way. Chant the Mahamantra, yeah, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So one of the person, after chanting few number of rounds, after say almost some couple of years, he came and said, Prabhu, the tagline of your movement says chant and be happy. I've been chanting for so many years, but I'm never happy. I'm so sorry. In fact, the time since I've started chanting, so many difficulties in my life. How do we correct this? So they don't understand the happiness between the soul and this body. So they try to mix the happiness within this material world and the spiritual world. So the happiness is always within, not outside the body. So first of all, when we chant, we don't chant with an expectation that I'll become happy. No, the purpose of chanting this Mahamantra is to purify our existence, one, and then to establish the lost connection between us and the Lord. That is the purpose of chanting. So when we realize this, then we will start enjoying the bliss. Until and unless we don't do that, the bliss or the happiness of chanting will never ever come. Okay, can we have already done the 13th shloka, right? Okay. So now coming to the second shloka, that is the shloka number 13. Yeah. Now here is where Narad Muni, curses Manigriva and Nalkuber. Yeah, and this curse is actually it's a kind of a benediction for them, because two things will happen. Yeah. One is by receiving this curse, they will not only realize the mistake what they've done. Yeah, and then when they realize the mistake, they will be grounded, and that grounding was very much necessary for them. And then finally, because they have undergone the punishment, and after undergoing the punishment, so they became humble. Yeah, so to make a person humbler, and then finally what happens? They are able to see the Lord. So because they are able to see the Lord, so this curse has actually turned into a benediction for them. Now, pride is a very vast subject, and it's a subject which does not need any introduction. Yeah, we can speak on the pride, maybe for days, because this is a subject matter, yeah, which we see in not only on others. Generally, what we see is we don't see that pride within ourselves. We try to see this pride in others. So in every small little thing, in fact, right from our start of the day till we go to the bed, we can just analyze and try to understand that in my entire activity since I've woken up from the bed until the time I'm sleeping, how many times I have satisfied my ego, and how many times I have become proud of myself. Sometimes the father tells the child that I'm so proud of you. Yeah. So that by saying that itself, we are actually evoking or invoking our ego, saying that I'm the cause of it. So when I say that I'm so proud of you, what does it mean? That you have come to this state because of me. Yeah, or probably the child would have put his effort, no doubt about it, but he was able to put the effort because of the person, the force behind him. So there is no acknowledgement of the Lord here. So we are not trying to acknowledge the Lord. We are not trying to thank the Lord. Instead of saying that I'm so proud of you, he should have said, the Lord will be so proud of you. Because the energy was given by the Lord. The entire thing has been given by the Lord. So whatever facilities was required has been provided by the Lord. And by saying so, we are not only acknowledging the Lord, we are also giving a message to the child saying that, everything comes from the Lord. So we need to thank him. We need to acknowledge him. So it's a common practice among the devotees. So whenever we say, Prabhu, you've done so nice. So what they say immediately, oh, it's all Krishna's mercy. Yeah. And when someone, for example, if there is a drama, within the devotee community, when they say, Prabhu, Mataji, you performed so well, immediately they will say, oh, it is all, our Guru's mercy. Immediately they will pass and they will acknowledge. It is such a nice way of doing it. Yeah. When someone cooks nice prasadam, what you say, Prabhu, what a lovely prasadam you cooked. You will say, no, I did not cook. I was just an instrument. It's all due to Lord's mercy. So nice, isn't it? So, but generally, that is not the case. Now, in case of Nal Kubera and Manigriva, they were the sons of Kubera. Kubera holds a very high position in the Swargaloka, handles the entire finance operations. He's the head of finance operation, in a way CFO. And he's the one who approves. Yeah. And these two boys happen to be his sons. So he had a position and he demanded a respect. But, these two boys, took an undue advantage of their father's position. Just like what we see, in today's world, wherein the minister's son, they are so arrogant, isn't it? And you come across the news every single day that the minister's son was arrested because, he slapped the police, and and they will not follow any rules and regulation while driving the car. They'll be so rash because they're so confident that no one can touch them, and they feel that they're quite above the law. So what they do, they try to abuse the the law of the land. So, and for so many reasons. One is they feel that they are untouchable. They feel that their father or their whosoever relative they are, they are in a very high position, so they are quite influential. And then they try to throw around their weight, even though they may not have much of a qualification. Neither their children's or whoever their dependents are, they don't have any position. They don't demand any position. Despite that, they like to throw around their weight, which is very common, especially in India. This is very, very common. How many of you all have experienced this particular scenario? If yes, please raise a hand. Anyone has experienced that? Yes. Krishna Mataji says yes. Krishnamurti Prabhu says yes. Sudha Mataji says yes. Yes. Yeah, we read that newspaper, right? So many news articles regarding the same thing. So that is abuse of power. Yeah. So similarly, Nal Kubera and Manigriva, they abused their position. They took an undue advantage of their father's position, thinking that they are untouchables, and then they cross the line. They cross the limit. So when such thing happens, such thing happens with the providence of the nature, So we think that whatever we do, whatever abominable actions that we do, no one is seeing. Yeah, there is no power that can stop me. No, someday, if not, probably we will see that we might see that okay, this minister has been occupying the seat for so many years, for 10 years, 20 years. But see, look at the sons. They are they are abusing the power of their father. They are beating around. They're creating a ruckus, but nobody's there to ask. No, but we might see a window of 10, 20 years only, but the window of the Lord, it's quite bigger, quite wider, because he looks at a spectrum from various yugas. Yeah, from his perspective, the length and the breadth is quite wider, while our length and the breadth is just 100 years. But from his perspective, when we see, it is billions and millions of lifetimes. So, that's why we see, and we also come up to them, we also ask the question, why good things happens to bad people and why bad thing happens to good people? Isn't it? Why? Because we see a very narrow width. We see this narrow timeline of just 100 years, but it is beyond this 100 years, beyond this body itself. So whatever actions that we perform, we are accumulating a karma. We might sometimes such karma we will get a reaction within the same lifetime, if not in the next lifetime. And sometimes we also suffer. So we might say, okay, I have this entire life, I have not done anything to anyone. I have given charity to so many institutions. I have given charity to so many poor people. But look how much I am suffering. But I'm not suffering because of this lifetime. I'm suffering because I've caused this kind of suffering in my previous lifetime. And that's the reason why I'm suffering. So when we have this kind of understanding, then we do not suffer. We can only get this understanding provided we read scripture, we understand the scripture, we stay among the association of the devotees, we come into the devotional way of life. But that's rare, isn't it? That's a rarity. It's not possible. So we generally see that people, especially people who are wealthy, who are very famous, who are very beautiful, they carry this lot of arrogance. Yeah. We see these film stars, daily. Nowadays we don't even call them film stars. Nowadays they are no more a star. Because earlier, people to see a person who does an acting, who does a role in a film, and then when we see him physically, that was a very rare occasion. That's why they were called as stars, because the stars, we cannot see them, and we have to see them from very far distance, and they are very small, because it's very, very far, and that's why all the film stars were referred as film stars. But nowadays, with the advent of this social media, the star notion has gone forever. They are just film actors. But despite that, the kind of arrogance what they hold. Why? Because of the fame that they carry. So there's a lot of arrogance, a lot of hatred. And then they think they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want. So what happens? Then it is the nature's turn. So nature will, will pull that person into task. The nature will find a way. Just like, the nature found his providence by way of, making Narad Muni walk through that way where Nalkvira and Manigriva were taking bath in that Mandakini pond. So there was no reason for Narad Muni to come to that place, because he's a sage ultimately. But why? Because these two boys happened to hold a position. Position meaning they were the sons of Kubera, and quite an elevated person. And these two sons, they were not supposed to be behaving in this way. So they had to be reprimanded. So what happened ultimately? Narad Muni had to come. And in a way, of course, it was a benediction quoted by a way of course. Yeah. Sometimes, the quinine medicine, there is a sugar coating, but inside there is a medicine. Yeah. So that the children, when they take this medicine, they don't feel the bitterness. So here, while the outer covering, it's entirely opposite. The outer covering was bitterness, because it came in the form of curse. by Narad Muni. But actually it was not a curse. It was actually a benediction, because both of them, they could personally see the Lord, and finally, they could go back home, back to Godhead, and they could get their original position also. Otherwise, just imagine, every day bathing naked in Mandakini River, with all the female damsels there, they would have actually gone into hell. So in a way, Narad Muni gave them blessing, in a way of curse. So not only Narad Muni saved them from being further getting a very what do you call it, a very bad life, or a very bad body later on. Rather, he saved them to get a better position in in a way of curse, and then finally they could witness the Lord. They could see the Lord personally, and then finally go back home, back to Godhead. So this was a kind of a the sugar was inside, but the bitterness was outside. So it was in a way of a curse that was being given to them. Yeah. So generally, people say, "Oh, Narad Muni cursed these people," and then so whenever we go and speak during the Damodar Aarti, yeah, when we visit several houses, they say, "Oh, Narad Muni, he was so cruel." Yeah, how could he curse? They were just taking bath. How could he curse them? No, but it was not a curse. He's a Mahajan. Narad Muni is a Mahajan. How can he curse? Even his curse is as good as benediction. Just like Vritrasura, Mother Parvati, cursed. And when he cursed, what's his name? Whom did Mother Parvati cursed?
Chitraketu.
Chitraketu, Prabhuji.
Yes, Chitraketu. So when Mother Parvati cursed Chitraketu, yeah, and then it was a curse, yeah. But when he became Vritrasur, yeah. So even though being in a body of a demon, he could remember the Lord, and he could display all the quality of a devotee. And then finally he went back home, back to God. So every devotee, yeah, when a devotee curses, yeah, we have to take that curse as a benediction. Remember this always. But that doesn't mean that we act as a devotee and then we start cursing others. No, that should not be the case. Yeah. So when we come across, suppose we do some mistake, yeah, and when someone shouts at us, especially a very senior devotee, because we might do some mistakes, isn't it? Because we're all human beings, so we might do some small mistakes. Probably, sometimes the senior will tell us, "Oh, you shouldn't have done this." Yeah, and that time we shouldn't feel bad at all. Yeah? And probably sometimes we might even get some kind of shouting. In fact, if that shouting comes from our spiritual master, so we should be so proud. I'm not proud. Sorry, not the word proud is not the right word. We should be so thankful. Once when my spiritual master came here in Dubai, I was given seva to serve him, and I was in the room alone with him. As you all know, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, he needs a lot of assistance due to his health condition. So I was given the seva in the morning, even though I was there in the night entirely with him, doing as the night to keep a watch on him throughout the night, along with other devotee also. And then the morning breakfast time also, I was there with him, and then I was alone with him at that time. And then I was supposed to give the tissue paper to my spiritual master. So I have a habit of picking up 2 pieces of tissue at a time, and whenever Maharaj would ask to ask me to help him wipe his face, so what I would do, I would immediately pull out 2 papers at the same time, and I would do that. So Maharaj was observing 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, and the 4th time Maharaj called me. He said, "You're wasting a lot of tissue paper. This is not required." So, and he said it in a different tone altogether. So I was taken aback that time. I was thinking, oh, Maharaj, he was so upset, and he told me this. In fact, I use this tissue for him and not for myself. So that thought came, and then when I discussed with my other senior devotee, he said, "Oh, you are so lucky that Maharaj, gave you this piece of what do you call this scolding. So you're fortunate." And then I understood the thing behind. So not that in that particular house where the Maharaj was staying, they were short of tissue paper. So when I asked the other devotee, the devotee told me that Maharaj is concerned that every paper that we use, we are actually abusing the nature. So why are we even doing that? So Maharaj is concerned, and then he is kind of teaching us that how we have to use every resources very carefully. So So all the acharyas, all the senior devotees, the great devotees of the Lord. So whenever they reprimand, it's always for a correction. Yeah. So this is what we have to take from today's class and today's shloka. Yeah. So I will stop here my thing, and maybe you can stop screen. And if anyone has any questions, any comments, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam Prabhuji. Prabhuji, this Kali Yuga has started around 4,500 years back. Is it not, Prabhuji? Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Still, by this time, the ordinary people living is no very, very risk taking life is going on in almost all the countries also, especially in India also.
When you
So
say risk,
still,
can you elaborate on the risk? What
risk means ordinary people that like one who has no voice, the living, the livelihood itself is a great hardship.
Okay.
So still the Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years, 4,25,000 years.
More to
So
go.
what
Yes.
is the fate? What is the fate of the people in coming generations? How they
Yeah.
survive?
Yeah. Very nice question, Prabhu. Very nicely question. Very nice question you have said. In the 11th canto, there is a section, symptoms of Kali Yuga. Yeah. I would strongly recommend that you read that particular chapter, and it will give you an insight as to what will happen when the Kali Yuga is going to end. What is going to happen? How we are just crossed 4,500 years, 4,500 years of this Kali Yuga. Now, still, so many lakhs of years are left for us to cross. Yes. So what is going to happen? So now, my quite a strong advice is we should not worry about what is going to happen in future. We should worry about our life. We should worry about our dependence. And now that we have got this knowledge of Krishna consciousness, so we need to stick to this. We need to hold on to this particular knowledge, to this understanding, to this devotional life, and to be serious and to see to that we don't come back, because we know that if we are going to come back, we are going to fall again in this Kali Yuga, and then our life is going to be even disaster. We don't even know if we are going to get another opportunity. So we use this body as a tool. Yeah, this body is nothing but an engine for us to travel from one destination to the other destination. Remember this always. So this body can be used as an engine, as a tool to can be used as a spring, what he calls the springboard. Yeah. So this is basically a springboard for us to jump from one destination to the other destination. And what is that other destination? It should surely not be hell. It should be always the spiritual world. And this is the best tool to use for that. And how do we use it? What is the process? Follow the Krishna conscious process. Follow the 9 devotional processes. Yeah. So that's how we do. Did I answer your question, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, I came to know, understand. Which canto, Prabhuji, I have to read? 11th canto?
No, 11th canto. You just search for the chapter, Symptoms of Kali Yuga.
Okay, Prabhuji. I will read that.
Yes.
So thank you, Prabhuji. You have enlightened me. Thank you. I am grateful to them, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions, comments, please? Anyone else? Or we can get on with the Aarti, I think. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you all so much for your participation. Hare Krishna. I think there are no questions, comments, so we'll take them.
Anybody would like to of their altar, Damodar, Lord Damodar? Anybody? I can make them co-host because looks like Mataji is gone for Aarti. She is busy, so she is not able to. So I will sing the Damodar Ashtakam if everybody is ready with the ghee lamp. Hare Krishna. Am I audible? Everybody is able to hear me? Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Looks like Mataji is not able to join today to sing the Damodar Ashtakam. So I would sing the Damodar Ashtakam. Any one of you all want to give darshan of your altar and Damodar so that we can do Damodar, we can do offering of Damodar lamp? Anybody? Okay, we give darshan of our deities then. Yeah. That's it. You are co-host, right? Yes, you are co-host. You can give darshan.
Give it up to me.
Okay, then I have to sing there. I have to sing also. And then you can do the dhoop, lamp also. Okay, dear devotees, so we start with Damodar Ashtakam, and I hope everybody is ready with the ghee lamp. I have to on here.
Just unmute.
Lamp is ready. Will we start with Damodar Ashtakam? Damodar Ashtakam ki jai. Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasakundalam Gokule Brajamanam. Sorry, give me a minute. Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasakundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashodabhiyolukhaladhavamanam Paramnishchamatham tadvedutagupya Rudantamuhunetam yugam prajantam Karambhojayogminam satakanetra Muhushwasakam patririkantakantha Sthitadevadamodar Iti trikshvalīlāvirānandakunde Swagosham nimanjantam ākyapayantam Tadiyeshitadnyeshu bhaktarjitatvam Punar prematastam chadavivande Param deva moksham na shampadim va
न चायं वृणेऽहं वनेश्वर इदं देव पूर्णार्थ गोपालबालं सदा मे मनस्याप्ययास्तु इदं ते मुखं भोज अत्यन्तनीलये कृतं कुन्तलस्निग्ध रक्तश्च गोप्या मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्ब रक्ताधरं मे मनस्या विरसम् आलं लक्षलाभि नमो देव दामोदर अनंत विष्णु प्रसिद्ध प्रभो दुःख जलधिभक्तम् कृपा दृष्टि वृष्ट्यादि दीनबलानो गृहाणि समाभाग्यं दृष्ट्या कुबेरात्मजौ वदते यत्वा त्वया मौचितौ भक्ति भजौ कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकाम्य प्रणश्य मोक्षे ग्रहो मे श्री दामोदरे नमस्ते धामेस्तु धामे त्वदीयोदराय विश्वस्य नमो राधिकाय तोदियाय प्रियाय नमो नाथलीलाय देवाय हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे जय दामोदरा 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 जय प्रभुपदा 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 जय प्रभुपदा श्री दामोदर अष्टकम की जय दामोदर अष्टकम की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय हरे कृष्ण dear devotees
I hope you all could offer the ghee lamp. Now, if you all, because few of them, they said, please speak on Ekadashi because few of you all have some doubts. So I said, okay, after the class, I can take few minutes. If you all allow me, if you all want me, please let me know. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So there are few doubts.